decoy is going to have enticing opportunities to you. But let me tell you, just because as they appear to be something, and they are wrapped up to make it appear to be something that it is not. A couple of years ago, down in North Carolina, I was going hunting one Thanksgiving morning. Well, I thought I seen a big buck on the side of the road. Before you could open up, I was about ready to put a 30-30 out of the truck window. Me and this boy was. Boy, that thing was just sitting there awful still. He backed his truck up. I said, boy, let's get this thing. I said, this may be a trophy right here, deer, buck. Deers down there is a little more spread out than they are up here. You don't see them like you do up here. I said, well, here's me a chance for a buck, and I won't have to do much at all. I can go back to bed, pop this thing, and get out of here. Well, I began to notice that thing wasn't moving. That thing was not moving at all. We looked at each other. There's something ain't right about this deer. If it was a real deer, that thing would have been moving when we moved that truck back. I got to look at it, and I said, boy, that's a decoy. That's a good old game warden set up decoy right there. Glad I didn't put that gun out there. But it looked like a real deer. They even got them where their heads can even move and their tails can wag. To get people, I'll just say it, I believe sometimes they get people to fall for it where they can entrap them for this stuff like that. Boy, I about fell for this. But yet, to me, it looked like a real buck going down there early in the morning. Right down the road after we avoided, we went on down to hunt. I seen the game warden's car down through there. Then I knew it was really an artificial deer. But here the point is, it had the appearance to be something, but that game warden was putting that deer out to get somebody to fall into that trap. Yeah. Can I tell you that's what the thief does? It will look like it will look good, and it will appear good, but the whole time it is a trap. It is an entanglement. It is a snare to destroy you. It is a snare to wrap you up and to rip you into pieces. It ain't there for your benefit. It is there for the thief to wrap his little arms around you and to put his teeth into you. Just because something appears to be something, don't make it there, even though it's appealing, even though it pleases the flesh. That's the way the thief works. Let me tell you, even in the Bible, Satan would wrap up certain things or certain ones to make it appear to be something that is not. I'm going to use two. How about that? These things look good. They seem pleasant to the eye. It appealed to the lust of the flesh and to the pride of life, but it was nothing more than an entanglement. Let me tell you, how many know in the beginning God created Adam and Eve, and he told them of all the trees you can eat of 99% of the trees, but one, do not touch the fruit of this tree. Which one do you think the enemy went and took that fruit? And I believe, how many know, if you work in a grocery store, you know they'll water the apples down sometimes. They'll send sprinklers on there to make them look good in order to sell it. I believe the enemy really approached this fruit that was on that tree. And I believe he tried to sell it to them, boy. He'd give them the best speech they could ever have. Boy, it was appealing to them. He said, that old devil said, boy, look, ain't it enticing? Boy, can you imagine the water going down? Boy, the one thing God told us not to touch. Here you are. Here it is. And boy, that thing's so appealing to me. I've got to have it. Then he said, listen, you shall surely be like gods. You'll know the rest of the story. They already knew the half of it, They didn't need to know the other part. They realized that after look, their eyes were really open to the bad part. They were already seeing the good things. But it began to appeal to that pride of life. And all of a sudden, that woman, I'm going to pick on the women tonight. That woman took the first bite. There's no arguing that. But Adam was right there beside of her. He could have nipped it in the bud. But instead, she handed off for him to eat. And let me tell you, what happened right there is a trap that not only enslaved them, but listen, let me tell you, look at it today. Look at it right now. People want to blame God on everything that goes wrong. You need to go back into the garden and put the fault back on mankind. It ain't God responsible for sickness. It's mankind that brought it into the world. God created us in a perfect environment. I'm getting ready to hit another woman here in a minute. The Bible says Eve was deceived, but Adam was rebelled. And listen, they lost paradise that day. God drove them from the garden, didn't he? Let me tell you what else. There's a curse that went on with it. The curse of childbearing, where there was pain in the labors. I looked at a young girl down there in North Carolina one time, going in the hospital. I could pick on her. I said, blame it on Eve, sister. Blame it on Eve. Blame it on Eve. But men, we got it cursed too with the thorns and thistles of the ground. Because something that appeared to be good. And look at the condition of the world right now. Here's the one I wanted to get to. Delilah. Delilah was a looker. I have no doubt in my mind about that. She was one of those, boy, she would take a man's eyes, I believe, in a heartbeat. Had to be. Listen, but she was an entrapment for a man of God by the name of Samson, who had done great mighty works. I believe she had beauty beyond beauty. I believe she appealed to him like no other could. According to Judges 14:3, listen. Then his fathers and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among thy people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, get her unto me. Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Well, she had beauty, I believe. She had it all. Had to be. To grab this great man of God's attention like that. Boy, ain't that right. That devil knows how to paint a beautiful picture. That devil knows how to give you the most beautiful one right before you. What Samson didn't realize was, even though she had an appearance, boy, that made his eyes melt. Boy, you could almost call her the beauty queen almost. Boy, his eyes would just melt this mighty man of God. I don't believe there was a second look. I believe it was a first look and he kept his eyes fastened. Maybe it was the second look too. Whatever. He said, I've got to appear. I've got to have this lady. I've got to have her for my wife. Knowing he should never got involved with her to begin with. But that beauty was appealing to his what? Flesh. It was appealing to his eyes. He said, even his own father said, ain't they another wife you can take? Samson said, no, I want this one. Oh, she was beautiful. But she was also a tool of the Philistines. She was also the entrapment of the Philistines. This is what they were going to use. Here was the one they were going to use to conquer this mighty man of God. You see, she was appealing, but she surely wasn't right. She was appealing, but she didn't have his interest in mind, did she? She had her own interest, and she had the interests of the Philistines in mind. How many know that's what that thief will do? He will come with an appearance for good and beauty, but inside of him, he's got a target. And what that target is you. And little by little, as long as that thief is there, he is robbing, he is stealing, he is killing, and he is destroying, and many times people don't even realize it. Do you know Samson didn't even realize it till one day he went out and whisked himself. Then he realized the Spirit of God had departed from him. Sometimes it ain't the big foxes, it's the small foxes that sometimes can spoil the vines. This is the way that thief will do. Some people don't even realize it. You ever wondered why some people don't realize they're in a backslidden state? Because the thief is robbing them blind and they don't even know where they're at right now. I've talked to people before. Yeah, I'm going to heaven. Really? But the evidence on your tree says a totally different thing. I believe the thief. I've talked to some good-hearted people that sat on pews before. I've told people to shout their victory before, be full of the Holy Ghost. You know without a shadow of a doubt they were right. But they allowed the thief to come in and take everything around, and many of them don't even realize where they're at right now. It's scary how this thief can work. A robber, he'll just rob you right out. He's going to make a mess. He's going to overthrow. But a thief ain't going to do that. He's going to do it quietly and surely until he gets everything that he wants. So you don't keep a thief in the house. What's the thief going to do? It's going to kill, it's going to steal, and it's going to destroy. That's exactly what a thief's going to do. Do I have the midnight tonight? Anybody with me? John 10:10 says, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus said, I come to give you life and more abundant life, didn't he? Let me tell you right now, people want the thief to come in. Can I tell you that a thief does not have your best interest in mind? You ever met a con man? There's scams going around trying to get your best interest in mind. We've got your best interest in mind. Sending us 5,000. Yeah, they ain't got your best interest in mind. They want to just rob you. Can I tell you tonight, the devil don't have your best interest in mind. He's got your worst interest in mind. People think the devil's got their best interest in mind. He ain't got no interest in you but to kill you and destroy you tonight. He just wants to take from you. He wants to leave you with nothing. Sadly, he is robbing many. I'm reminded of the story in Luke 10:30 of the Good Samaritan. Listen right there. And Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. Right there is a picture of what this thief wants to do, don't it? Right here is a picture of what this enemy of the soul wants to do. He wants to kill you all ways he can, church. Don't take him in. What does he want? He wants your joy. He wants your victory. He wants your shout. He wants to destroy your faith. He wants you to doubt God. He literally wants you to doubt God. If he can get you to reject God, guess what he's got? He's got what he ultimately wants, your soul. If he can tear up your faith and get you to reject God, he's got you. He's got your soul. That's what the whole purpose is. He wants everything he can above you. The old thief wants to take all he can. He wants to tear you into pieces and rip you into shreds. And what's left over is just like this old boy that was laying on the Samaritan road. Sadly tonight, let me tell you what's happening. The thief is ravaging. There's people laying there half dead that's been eaten alive by the thief. Anybody know what I'm talking about? People don't even realize it. I see what the devil's doing tonight. I'm worried about this nation. You better be.